for coaching classes, their social capital or network of connections, your cultural capital, being brought up by English educated parents in an environment conducive to learning, had nothing to do with your success in the entrance exam? Do you feel it's fair that the overwhelming majority of the population of India should settle for only 50% of the available seats? For instance, other backward classes constitute 52% of India's population. Is it not unfair for them to get a quota for only 27% of the positions on offer? The preamble to India's constitution says that we are a socialist state. Isn't reserving seats like redistributing wealth? Taking from those who have too much and giving to those who have almost nothing? If India ignores her hopeless masses, isn't there a possibility that they might take up arms to violently overthrow the government? According to the 2011 census, there were 201.3 million scheduled castes, or 16.6% of India's population, and 104.5 million scheduled tribes, or 8.6% of India's population in India, more than the estimated population of the United Kingdom, France, Germany, and Spain combined. As Winston Churchill said in the House of Commons in 1946, quote, "When one speaks of a community as large as this, the word minority loses much of its significance." Unquote. The other backward classes are considered to be even more numerous. Unlike affirmative action in the US, which is primarily for racial minorities, quotas in India are theoretically meant to protect the political majority from the alleged tyranny of a powerful elite minority. The question of how to identify and define other backward classes has been one of the most contentious issues to come up before the Supreme Court. Even today, other backward class reservations remain highly controversial. Nobody really knows how many other backward classes there are in the country. The Mandal Commission used estimates from the 1931 census to guess that 52% of Indians were other backward classes. More recently, the National Sample Survey estimates that other backward classes constitute around 36 to 42% of India's population. Unlike scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, it is very difficult to come up with precise criteria to define membership of the other backward class community. Governments are often accused of conferring other backward class reservations on politically powerful groups like the Maratha community in Maharashtra. Though other backward classes obtained reservations in some Indian provinces even in the colonial period, the central government introduced other backward class reservations in public services and educational institutions in 1990 and 2006, respectively. Unlike scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, other backward classes cannot get reservations in promotions. In 2020, none of the 80 seats that were on offer at the National Law School in Bangalore were reserved for other backward classes. Reservations continue to be deeply relevant for every new generation that seeks admission into colleges or enters the workforce. In 2020 alone, the Uttarakhand government scrapped reservations in promotions, while the Karnataka High Court struck down the government's decision to introduce 25% reservations for local students, in addition to the pre-existing reservations for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes at the National Law School in Bangalore. Scheduled castes are communities that were traditionally considered to be untouchable in India. Though formally repudiated by the Constitution, untouchability constitutes to be practiced in insidious forms. In urban India, the empirical evidence suggests that companies discriminate between potential employees on the basis of caste and religion. In response to newspaper advertisements, job applicants who had Hindu upper caste names were more likely to get called for interviews than those with backward caste or Muslim names. Employers are not merely interested in the merit of interviewees, they often ask about the family background of job applicants in employment interviews. A study found that landlords in Delhi were more willing to give their homes on rent to tenants with upper caste Hindu names